subscribe channel, like and comment video.
The Gingerbread Man. Once upon a time, in a cozy cottage at the edge of a peaceful village, there lived an elderly woman and her husband. They had spent many happy years together in their little home, but as time passed, they found themselves growing lonely. Their children had long since grown up and moved away, and the couple often wished for some company to brighten their quiet days. One crisp autumn morning, the old woman decided to bake something special. She gathered flour, butter, eggs, sugar, ginger, and spices from her pantry. The warm, sweet smell of baking would fill the house and lift their spirits, she thought. But today, she wanted to make something different, something fun that might make her husband smile. "I know," she said to herself, "I'll make a gingerbread man." She mixed the ingredients together carefully, kneading the dough until it was smooth and fragrant. Then she rolled it out on her wooden table and used a special tin cutter to shape a little gingerbread man. With great care and love, she decorated him with raisins for eyes, a cherry for his nose, and icing for his mouth and buttons. She even gave him a little icing bow tie to make him look smart and cheerful. "There you are, my little friend," she said, admiring her handiwork. "You're the finest gingerbread man I've ever made." She placed him on a baking tray and slid him into the hot oven. The old woman sat down in her rocking chair to wait, while her husband dozed by the fireplace. The cottage filled with the most wonderful smell of ginger and cinnamon, making their mouths water in anticipation. After some time, the old woman heard a strange sound coming from the oven. At first, she thought it was just the crackling of the fire. But then she heard it again, a tiny voice calling out, "Let me out! Let me out!" Startled, the old woman jumped from her chair and hurried to the oven. She opened the door carefully, and to her absolute amazement, the gingerbread man leapt out, fully alive. He landed on the floor with a soft thud, looked up at the astonished old woman with his raisin eyes twinkling, and grinned his icing smile. "Thank you for making me," he said in a cheeky voice. "But I'm afraid I can't stay for tea." Before the old woman could say a word, the gingerbread man darted toward the open cottage door. The old woman cried out to her husband, "Stop him! Stop the gingerbread man!" The old man woke with a start and saw the little cookie running across the floor. Both he and his wife chased after the gingerbread man as fast as their old legs would carry them, but the gingerbread man was too quick. As he ran out into the garden, the gingerbread man began to sing, "Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." The elderly couple chased him through the garden gate and down the lane, but they simply couldn't keep up. The gingerbread man laughed as he ran, his little legs moving like lightning, leaving a faint trail of ginger scent in the air behind him. Soon, the gingerbread man passed a cow grazing peacefully in a meadow. The cow looked up with interest at this strange, sweet-smelling creature running by. "Stop, little gingerbread man," mooed the cow. "You look delicious. I'd love to eat you for my lunch." But the gingerbread man just laughed and called back, "I've run away from an old woman, I've run away from an old man, and I can run away from you. I can. Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." The cow began to chase him, her heavy hooves thundering on the ground. But the gingerbread man was far too fast. He zipped along the path with the cow lumbering behind him, and soon she gave up, panting and tired. The gingerbread man continued running through the countryside, feeling very pleased with himself. He had never felt so alive, so free. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and he was having the most marvelous adventure. Before long, he encountered a horse standing by a fence. The horse's ears pricked up when he saw the gingerbread man running toward him. "Stop, little gingerbread man," neighed the horse. "You smell wonderful. I'd love to have you for a snack." But the gingerbread man just laughed even harder and sang, "I've run away from an old woman, I've run away from an old man, I've run away from a cow, and I can run away from you. I can. Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." The horse galloped after him with powerful strides, his mane flowing in the wind. But even the horse's speed was no match for the nimble little gingerbread man. Soon the horse, too, had to stop and catch his breath, watching in amazement as the gingerbread man disappeared into the distance. The gingerbread man ran on and on, growing more confident with each step. He had outrun everyone who tried to catch him. He felt invincible, unstoppable. He began to think that no one in the whole world could ever catch him. As he ran through a farmyard, a group of chickens clucked excitedly and tried to peck at him. "I've run away from an old woman, an old man, a cow, and a horse," he sang, "and I can run away from you." The chickens scattered as he dashed between them, leaving them flapping and squawking in his wake. Next came a pig who snorted and gave chase, but the gingerbread man easily outran him too, adding the pig to his growing list of those he'd escaped from. His song grew longer and more triumphant with each new creature left behind. The gingerbread man was having such a wonderful time that he didn't notice where he was going. Suddenly, he found himself at the bank of a wide, deep river. The water flowed swiftly, sparkling in the afternoon sunlight. The gingerbread man stopped at the water's edge and looked around nervously. He had never encountered water before, and something told him that getting wet would not be good for a cookie. Behind him, he could hear his pursuers, so the old woman and man, the cow, the horse, the chickens, and the pig all still chasing him, though they were quite far behind now. But ahead of him was the river, too wide to jump across, too deep to wade through. "Oh dear," said the gingerbread man, his confidence faltering for the first time. "What am I to do?" Just then, a sly fox appeared from behind a nearby bush. He had russet fur, a magnificent bushy tail, and bright, clever eyes. The fox had been watching the gingerbread man's escape with great interest. "Good afternoon, my dear gingerbread man," said the fox in a smooth, friendly voice. "You seem to be in quite a predicament." "I need to cross this river," said the gingerbread man, "but I can't get wet, or I'll fall apart." The fox pretended to think deeply about this problem, though a cunning gleam flickered in his eyes. "Well, that is quite a dilemma," he said. "But I have a solution. I'm an excellent swimmer, and I'd be happy to carry you across the river on my back." The gingerbread man hesitated. He remembered how everyone else had wanted to eat him. "How do I know you won't eat me?" he asked suspiciously. The fox looked hurt and placed a paw over his heart. "Eat you? My dear fellow, I've just had a large lunch. I'm not the least bit hungry. I'm simply offering to help you out of the goodness of my heart. But if you'd rather wait for your friends back there." He gestured with his tail toward the approaching crowd of pursuers. The gingerbread man looked back and saw that they were getting closer. He had no choice here. He had to trust the fox. "All right," he said. "Thank you for your kind offer." "Climb onto my tail," said the fox, "and hold on tight." The gingerbread man climbed onto the fox's bushy tail, and the fox stepped into the water and began to swim. The current was strong, and the fox paddled steadily toward the opposite bank. When they were about a quarter of the way across, the fox said, "Oh dear, the water is getting deeper. You'd better climb onto my back, or you might get wet." The gingerbread man did as the fox suggested and scrambled up onto his back. The fox continued swimming, but the current grew even stronger. When they were halfway across, the fox said, "The water is getting deeper still. You'd better climb onto my head to stay safe and dry." Again, the gingerbread man did as he was told, climbing carefully up to the fox's head. He was getting a bit nervous now, but they were so close to the other side. When they were 3/4 of the way across, the fox said, "Oh my, the water is deeper than I thought. You'd better climb onto my nosy. It's the highest point, and you'll stay perfectly dry there." The gingerbread man, trusting the fox completely now and eager to stay out of the water, climbed onto the very tip of the fox's nose. They were almost at the shore now, just a few more strokes. But then, just as they reached the shallow water near the bank, the fox suddenly tossed his head back and a snap. It caught the gingerbread man in his jaws. "Mmm," said the fox, crunching contentedly. "That was delicious. The best gingerbread man I've ever tasted." And that was the end of the gingerbread man. The fox climbed out of the water and trotted away, licking his lips with satisfaction. Back on the other side of the river, the old woman and the old man stood watching sadly. The cow, the horse, the chickens, and the pig all gathered around them, and they all sighed together. "I should never have made such a proud little cookie," said the old woman. He was so full of himself, thinking he could outrun everyone and never be caught. His pride was his downfall. The old man put his arm around his wife. "Perhaps," he said gently, "but you gave him life, and he had quite an adventure, didn't he?" He may have been proud, but he certainly was spirited. The old woman smiled a little at this. "That's true. He was quite something, wasn't he? Let's go home. I think I'll make another gingerbread man, but this time, I'll keep him in the cookie jar where he belongs." Hand in hand, the old couple walked back to their cottage, while the animals returned to their meadows and farmyards. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. And what of the fox? Well, he thought himself very clever indeed for tricking the gingerbread man. But perhaps he wasn't quite as clever as he thought, for as he trotted through the forest that evening, he met a wolf. "What are you looking so pleased about?" asked the wolf. The fox told the wolf all about how he had outsmarted the gingerbread man and eaten him up. "Is that so?" growled the wolf. "Well, you may be clever, but you're not the cleverest creature in this forest." "That would be me." And the two of them began to argue about who was more clever, and soon they were so busy quarreling that they didn't notice the hunter approaching until it was too late, and they both had to run for their lives. As for the old woman and the old man, they did make another gingerbread man when they got home. But this one stayed a cookie, as cookies should, and they enjoyed him very much with their evening tea by the warm fireplace, sharing memories of their adventurous gingerbread man and laughing together in their cozy cottage. And the moral of the story? Pride comes before a fall, and those who boast too loudly about being impossible to catch often find that someone cleverer will prove them wrong. But also, perhaps, that even a little cookie can have a grand adventure before his story ends. The end.
Subscribe channel, like and comment video.